Hi, it's Ricky of Moshville Times here once again. Now, tonight we are joined by Surrey multi-genre metal band Gutlocker. I say multi-genre because I can't really pigeonhole this band into a particular genre, but let's just say that they play beautiful groove metal, so let's just leave it at that. Tonight we've got vocalist Craig, we have bassist Ben, and we've got the drummer Dev as well coming in an interview, so thanks very much for turning up, mate. I appreciate it. But unfortunately, we don't have guitarist Pete at the moment because he's having his dinner just now. So sorry for fucking disturbing you, mate. But yeah, it just gives us free rein to take the mickey out of him, then, doesn't it? How the devil are you guys?
We're good.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, not bad.
Good. Ben, I would encourage you to have a beer because I always have like beers on these interviews and things like that. But I think if the police were to see this when this goes on YouTube, you might get a wee knock on the door. So what are you currently doing at the moment?
I'm rushing about getting bits from the hardware store, well, home base, because my friend Billy has broken his tap.
To be fair, I've never had that in an interview before. That's definitely a unique answer, so I do appreciate that, and I welcome it. And you've probably guessed, ladies and gentlemen, this is how this interview is going to be going for the rest of the duration. But
how did he break his tap? Did he lean on it? Or?
He got in the van this morning in a right mood, mate. I mean, face like a smacked ass, and he was like, "I don't want to talk about it. Something's happened." I'm like, "Has someone died?" And no, I've broken my tap. And I was like, what? So is it stuck on? And he was like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. And then we had 20 minutes of silence. And finally, he cracks and he was like, oh, I think I know how to fix it. And I'm like, well, what's actually fucking wrong with it then? And he's got it so that, I don't know, it gets stuck on. He's managed to kind of turn it all the way off somehow. I don't know what I'm going to walk in to find yet, but we're just hoping for the best.
This is all yet to come.
Yeah.
So you're literally going to do this interview and then you're going to help fix his tap?
Yeah, that's the plan.
All right.
Well, I just explained to the guys that I don't ask 1 or 2 questions, mate. You'll be here till about 9 o'clock.
Fine.
I'm glad you think I'm kidding. But yeah, so obviously one of the main reasons for this interview is on October the 19th, you're coming to Glasgow to play Moshville Rocktoberfest. And for the next few weeks, I'll be interviewing each band on the bill. So firstly, thanks so much for saying yes, because I know it's one hell of a trek from Surrey and making a very long trip up to Glasgow to play. I just have to ask, are you guys, is it settled yet? Are you sharing the bus with Stone Soup?
Don't think so.
No.
we want to be in good shape for when we do our set.
Oh, the other thing, I don't think it would work for us quite logistically. I mean, we're in the same kind of area, but it's the whole we've all got to end up in one place to leave, and then we're going to get back to somewhere and all have to split up, or it's a game of round robin to everyone's address, and I think we're spread out a bit too much for that.
Yeah. No, it's just I interviewed Stone Soup a good few weeks ago now, and it was brought up in the conversation by Chris. You know how he likes his Stella. But yeah, all good. But yeah, also the beauty about Gutlocker, apart from the name, is that you're asked to support a variety of genres. So whether it be with Tribe of Ghosts or Harbinger or more for my scene, Escular Grind and Rotten Sound. So tell us the process, how you go about choosing your set list for those type of gigs, for the variety of gigs, and how was the Escular Grind gig? Have to ask.
I think it's just really kind of getting the vibe off the bands that we're supporting and just really picking out the songs that would suit best for that type of genre.
Yeah.
And I think we do a few rehearsals where we pay attention to Dev's really good at picking very minuscule things that we don't pick out. So he really helps sort of bring it together as well. We need to kind of finish on the snap on this one.
Yeah.
He just adds a bit more of a spice to it, thinking, if we're going to do this concept, you want to do fast and hectic, supporting a band like Squealer Grind or Rotten Sound, we'll snap into this, we'll snap into that.
How did you get asked to be on that gig anyway? Because it seems like a kind of strange combination. I mean, I've got absolutely no doubt that it worked. But
we got asked. We played a headline show at Alton, and there was a girl from a band called Bitch Now,
Okay.
and she loved our set, so she said, "I'm going to get you in touch with a guy that will get you a show with a hardcore band." I'm like, yeah, cool. And then, lo and behold, we found out it was Rotten Sound and a Squeller Grind, so we were like, "Oh shit!" So, we said yeah to that pretty much instantly. I think it worked because I've been listening to Squeller Grind's latest stuff.
Yeah.
They've actually got more groove than I expect them to have. So I think it worked really well. So
Yeah.
if any band in that lineup had more of the groove melon element, be us. And then you got a Squeller Grind that do more of the grindcore with elements of groove, and then the rest of the grindcore, more of the death metal style shit, ended up, of course, being Rotten Sound. So yeah, I think it just worked out really well.
Ah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Especially Tribe of Ghosts as well. I mean, the last time I saw you guys was down in Rabidfest last year, and I kind of felt like the bands before you, every single band played stellar sets on the day, but I kind of felt when Gutlocker went on stage, I went, the level of professionalism just went up that wee notch, you know. So it's very impressed with your set. But also like seeing bands like Tribe of Ghosts for the first time. They've also got a big future as well. So fair play to them. And I just love the fact that you guys will just play anywhere with anybody.
It's always been the.
We're whores. We're just whores for shows.
I think.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Like.
See, he's doing this on purpose, Ben. Just you talk, mate. Just you talk. He's doing that on purpose.
It comes from this whole, like, when you see a band who's just on every poster on Facebook, like, you know, where you're like scrolling and you can't get away from them.
Yeah.
It's kind of when you see that, you think, oh no, yeah, that I want to fucking do that. I want that to be us. You know, we're so busy, we can't even sit down and write any music together.
No, cool. So I'm glad that everything is going really, really good. But it's been over 2 years now from your debut album To Be Alive was released. Imagine that you guys have been busy writing new material and busy behind the scenes and getting something officially released by the band, which is a long time coming. But I was wondering if you guys were going to become like a doom metal band or something like that with the time that it's taken you to release new songs. But what do you think? What kind of stage are you at, if you're allowed to say, which you are?
Well, we're already playing one new one live.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we're at the trialing stage. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think Dev coming into the band, it's that transition. It's taken a while for us to sort of work out how to write together again a little bit.
Yeah.
We kind of had this moment where the song sort of just fell out of the sky. Like, we were struggling over like 3 or 4 different riffs and where to go with it. And just I think like 2 sessions and we were like, oh shit, that's it done.
Well, absolutely. But so how does it feel to be at this stage again and writing songs? Because I'd imagine like some of the songs of like To Be Alive were already years old. So how does it feel to be writing fresh new material? So I'll start off with yourself, Dev.
Oh, well, I can say, like, to be fair, I was a fan of Gutlocker, like, long before I was in the band anyway. And I definitely already kind of said, you know, if you guys ever need a stand-in or whatever, I'm there. So, like, I knew the material, I was a fan, like, but, well, I'd also say, you know, the last sort of, like, year and a half, 2 years have been incredibly fun through all the gigs. But there, yeah, obviously is that yearning to kind of write your own material in there as well. So,
Yeah.
You called it, it's a long time coming. So yeah, it feels good to be doing it. All right.
No, good. We're actually going to be talking about you in a wee bit later on. So just watch your head when you walk out your living room door after I ask these questions, okay? But what about yourself, Ben? Like, are you excited to be like writing new material? Are you kind of like fed up playing the To Be Alive songs? You want to do new stuff?
It definitely, like, I wouldn't say fed up, but you know, we kind of got somewhere at the end of the track, A Man Too Proud. I think it's like the last section of that we were really pushing into kind of, let's do something a little bit more proggy, something with a little bit more ups and downs, and let's smash it outside the box and do something a bit different.
Can I just stop you there for a wee second? You scared the shit out of me when you said the word prog.
Well, I mean, think tall when I say prog. So like crazy, or like carnival would be another good example. But yeah, just wanted to do something, a little bit more out there compared to what we usually been known for, and like heavier riffs as well. Something a bit more, really get fucking pit going or something.
Yeah.
I've been trying to create the moments of crescendos in songs where you're thinking in your head, you want everyone to sort of be looking at each other and then go, oh shit, as the riff kicks in, and they're just really fucking beating the crap out of each other or whatever. Trying to find something with a little bit more, like you can feel where it's going, as far as instead of just like a mad dash to the end.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you don't want punters to stand in the crowd with their phones up and just recording you then?
No. I mean, we see enough videos of ourselves as it is. It's just fine.
I've seen them on the internet. I know what you're talking about. There's more main culprits of that than there are some others in the band. But yeah, I mean, I'd imagine, Craig, like you might have thought that we're never going to get to the stage of recording an EP or recording an album again, or was it a case of like you're just concentrating on touring, you just want to play gigs, you just want to go out there, you just want to whore yourself about, or are you just waiting until the songs, you're 100% happy with the songs that you're writing first before you go into the recording?
We definitely feel that quality is more of a quantity. I mean, yeah, sure, we'd love to turn around and say, hey, we got an album under our belt, we're going to push it out soon, but we want to make sure it's something that we're definitely proud of. Like the new song that we've done, we're all in agreement that this tune is just fucking banging, and we've been very excited to play it first time when we did a Deprivation Festival. As I mentioned before, we played it a couple more shows after, where we did the London Metal Correlation Co-Fest, with main support for Harbinger. People went mental to that. Holroyd Arms, people were properly thrown down to it as well. I think we played it just after To Be Alive, didn't we, as well? So that just,
yeah,
and the ending of that, and then snapping in to how the new track opens. People just eating it up. They were loving it. Can't wait to play it in Scotland, if we choose to play it in Scotland, of course.
I know for a freaking fact you will, right? It's written in the contract. Have you received the contract yet? It's written in it.
Get my fucking contract.
But yeah, so obviously it's in its fairly early stages, but obviously we're looking forward to it. Have there been discussions? Yes, I'm trying to go for the exclusives here, and yes, I know that you guys have been very secretive, but are you thinking about doing like an EP, or is there talk being an album? Because one of the things about Gutlocker is you're not afraid to do either. Like you're a mixture of the new school, doing like an EP or singles, couple month singles, or you're a mixture of the old school, whereas you like the album, you like the package, you like the lyrics, you like the artwork. So it'll be interesting to see what you do next. What are you thinking?
I think we're kind of favouring. Yeah, I think we're favouring the idea of an EP. Like, I don't know, maybe a 5-track or something. But then I don't know. It's not something we've really come to like a full close on talking about, really. I guess like still open. Yeah.
I think the only thing we're more decided on is we're definitely going to it's going to be sort of singles leading to then a physical release with them possibly all on it, and a lot of videos. We've got a lot of ideas of crazy crap we want to do, but
Well, we're going to be talking about videos and everything like that later, but I forgot to ask Craig. So while you guys are busy songwriting and stuff like that, does Craig do fuck all until like, right, we're going in the studio in 2 weeks' time? That's when he starts writing his lyrics. Is that what he tells you?
No, he's well in front. That's the crazy thing about Craig. I think he's got like albums worth of stuff that he can just go, oh yeah, that'll fit.
All right, so you're holding him back then?
Yeah. we're
Gaslighting.
Craig's poetry nights are well known, all right? Like,
No, good stuff. We are going to be talking about your lyrics soon as well. But yes, you've also got a new member in the band. Well, not new, but he's been here for a wee while now, Dev. So how easy or difficult was it to get him? Where did you find him from, and what do you feel that he brings to Gutlocker?
Well, I've known Dev since we were both about 11.
mm-hmm.
We were in our first band together. I can't remember what the first name would have been, but it eventually ended up being The Cases. And we were like 15, and we went and played a proper pub covers gig and got paid like 150 quid. And it was like, what the fuck is going on?
This is so easy.
Yeah. Oh my God, the music
Can it
industry
be that easy?
paid for
Yeah.
it. And then, you start doing your own music and realize the harsh reality of, hang on a minute, we're not going to get paid every gig.
Yeah.
So it just like when the time came to go for a new drummer, he was first on the list, really, because like as he said, he was already a fan of the band, and it was always a case of nudging us like, if you ever need anyone, if you ever need someone.
Well, I don't actually know if that's true, Dev, because when Craig was on the radio on Thursday night, he did say that you were the 7th drummer that they auditioned.
Fuck off, did I?
No, it seemed to be like you were the natural choice. So, like, comparing yourself to 2P Alive, then, what are the subtle differences to the sound that you think that you're bringing to the music, Dev?
There's so much I do like about the album. There's so much like, even from like talks with Dean, there were like a few initial sort of practice sessions where we kind of talked over, his style, what he did on the album. And obviously I was going to bring other stuff to it, but I really like it in that sort of but I guess some things that have changed since I've come in the band, I feel like we brought up the pace a bit. Like also just in drumming style, I come from more of a jazz and soul background, weirdly. This is quite early on in me drumming, and since then it's just been non-stop metal, and now that's all I do, and I love it. Yeah, so like, apart from anything, I think with no mock on, Dean, because his drumming was amazing, I think I'll bring in a bit more double bass. That's a long one thing to say, like, there was never a point where I wanted to like rewrite any of the drumming in the songs, but additions definitely,
Yeah. As you can probably tell behind me, I'm into the more extreme form of music. So when you say double bass, that's just music to my ears. I don't know if you want to bring in one or two wee blast beats. There's a wee subtle hint in there for you.
Oh yeah, I'm there for you. Yeah.
There was,
Ben shitting himself because then he has to keep up with you on the bass.
Oh, he's already making me work, man. Don't worry.
Yeah, there was one show. I think it was one of the first few shows. Where was it? It's Metal Monocle, wasn't it? And I turned around to Dev after a show, and he actually made me forget some lyrics during the song, just because out of nowhere I started hearing like his kick pedal. And how fast it was really going. I think it was Out of Sight. And for like 10 seconds or so, I forgot what the words were because I was listening to it and I was like, holy fuck. And that still does happen a few times. He does like throw in a few things that I haven't heard before, just adding a bit of spice to it. And I'm like, cool. But then it kind of throws me off guard. So I've got to work on that on my end. Just like, okay, just keep my shit together. But I give credit where it's due and shit. There's some really cool shit that Dev has brought into the stuff we've already written. Yeah. Which is why I'm particularly happy with new shit that we're doing now, because Dev is getting more breathing room to come into his own. And I think now that we're allowing that, I think it's bringing a bit more to the band. Like, no disrespect to Dean or anything, but it's bringing another avenue to the music that we're doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, thanks very much for that. But what I didn't know about the band Gutlocker is that you've got a silent fifth member of the band, and he's currently sitting next to you. Ben, would you like to introduce Billy to us and what instrument he plays in Gutlocker?
Hello.
I play bass for Ben because he can't play bass. A bit like Sid Vicious.
Bill's just off to the side. You know, I'm not even plugged in really. They're not even real strings.
I'm the talent. I normally stand in the crowd and say "play stuck," and they ignore me.
What was that?
Did you get the tap you were looking for, mate?
We did. I did. Yes.
Good. Well, I hope it all works out. I hope your kitchen's not flooded or your bathroom's not flooded. But yeah, so I look forward to seeing you at Moshville Rocktoberfest then. Since you're on this interview, you better buy a fucking ticket right enough. But yeah, no, looking forward to see. No, I'm only kidding you on. But it's good to see you. This is just a typical Gutlocker interview. Nothing ever goes to plan. But keep this man Ben in check, will you?
Who are we talking about? Who we keeping in check?
Oh dear.
But yeah, I just want to come back to the subtle differences. We got our answer from Dev then. I can't remember if I got the answer from you, Ben. What do you think is the subtle differences in the new song and the songs that you're writing? I'm going to ask you, Craig, as well, compared to Be Alive.
So it definitely, it's more like, I don't want to say breakdowny, but it's kind of got that, you know, that big kind of little vocal build up and then smashing in with a heavy riff. And we haven't really done that before.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't. It's always kind of been a little bit on the thrashier side. I definitely feel like this is more like what I kind of want to write, and it feels like yeah. Let's get on it. Let's do this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's more of a varied blend of music that's kind of led to this, rather than like I don't know if it's just because we've been playing it so long, but like you can kind of feel like, oh yeah, that's definitely an old song, and then when we start working on new riffs, it's just like, yeah, we've kind of moved away. That like there was an interval that Pete would always use. You'd have like 2 notes a semitone apart, and then it would be like a gap of 6 frets or so. It was the kind of harmonic minor thing. We do that a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
So it's kind of trying to move away from that and break into new melodies and that sort of thing.
Interesting.
Not the same old tropes.
You said the word prog earlier on. Does that mean that you're going to have a couple of bass solos in every song?
Not every song. I mean,
you are getting a bass solo in there.
I mean, there's a song with a lot of bits that are just bass, but I'm not soloing. I'm just playing a riff.
Yeah.
So,
are you building atmosphere? Are you?
Yeah, I think we're trying to like create a bit more of a dynamic range with stuff, you know. And the other thing is like trying to get the guitar and the bass doing very different things that fit really well together.
Yeah,
that's something I'm working, because I tend to like follow the riff a lot of the time because that's what works for the song.
Yeah,
but trying to work on stuff that, like, you know, this new heavy song, it's got really heavy bits, but the other thing it's got like a couple of lighter, slightly different bits, so it's almost like a release sections as well.
Yeah,
trying to do that well and work a bit of funk into there.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing these new songs, and you know exactly where to send it for it to be played as well. But Craig, with you not being involved musically and you kind of like have a step back, what do you see the other guys bringing to the table this time?
What I'm seeing, I mean, like reflecting on To Be Alive musically, vocally as well. I'm seeing a band that just really knows what it is now.
Yeah.
Because I know when we were doing To Be Alive, as Ben said, like when we come to the end of the marking point with A Man Too Proud, obviously they want to try something different, push it out. For me, that was a very personal song. That was dealing with grief and stuff like that. And I feel everything's fallen into place more authentically with
Yeah.
new stuff that we're doing. Because I feel like I've come full round. Like I just pretty much accepted I am just a fucking metal vocalist. You know, I've wanted to try out different things, but with the vibe that I'm getting from the music that they're doing now, it just comes more natural. I pretty much know what the fuck I'm gonna do with it.
Yeah.
As Ben said, I've got like pages upon pages of fucking lyrics coming out of my fucking arse and everything. And I remember Ben was saying to me when we did the new track, Ben turned around to me and was like, "You said you want to try a bit more singing. Do you want to try some singing over this?" And I was like, "No, I know what this fucking song is, so I know what the fuck it needs to be," kind of thing. I think we're just very much comfortable in what we're doing now. We know what we want to do. We're very happy with it. Yeah, sure. When it comes to point of releasing our new stuff, I'm sure we're going to get the elitists going, well, they need to decide if they're a death metal band or a thrash metal band. They can't switch from that to that and that. We've had a few people say it, and it's like, no, we're going to play what we want to play. We know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Just because other people don't get it doesn't mean that we don't have an understanding of what we're about. And I think with the new stuff, the way we approach it, the way we work together, the even taking time to break everything down to like the most minuscule detail to just get that right and make it sound that much bigger. I just generally feel like we're just more of a unit now with
And
the way that
do you
we
think
approach
like
it.
Dev's bringing that as well? Like you said earlier on, like
Yeah.
he's getting the smaller details. He's listening out to the smallest detail. I can't wait for this. I can't wait for this. But do you feel that your vocals? Do you feel like you're getting angrier in your vocals, or are these guys testing your vocal range and maybe some clean singing parts are coming into it, or not so aggressive vocals are coming into it?
I mean, I'm always asking for feedback and stuff, but they pretty much give me free reign on what I want to do. There's been a few times, and I really appreciate it, where they say you might want to change that word because we know what you're saying,
Yeah.
but for anyone else to listen to it, this is what they're going to hear. And obviously, we don't want to be the band where people take the piss of us because of a misheard lyric or something like that. So that's when they give some feedback in. But yeah, they pretty much give me free reign, and yeah, I am angrier. I won't lie. I'll put my hands up to it. So yeah, I'm going in full pelt with what I'm writing lyrically, the way I want to do it. I think as I've got older as well, I think my voice is a bit more grittier and a bit more lower than it has been.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of complementing what we're putting together now. All I'll just say is that it's sounding, yeah, there's more dynamics, but at the same time, predominantly it's heavy metal. But the impression, in my opinion, and opinion subjective, it sounds meatier and it sounds more pissed off than what we've done before.
I like to
I
hear that.
definitely agree.
I think there's a lot to be said. I think because I feel the same. Like the older I'm getting, the more I hate people. And realizing how stupid people are sometimes, and I just can't tolerate it less and less.
You seek less validation. You don't care about consequence anymore. So you're like, fuck it. So I think that's how I'm approaching how I write and what I decide to do with my voice.
Yeah, I say fuck it, fuck off, fuck you more than I've ever done before in my life. But talking about you being angrier then with your vocals, and when it goes into the recording, whether it's an EP or an album, I'd imagine that you're going to be recording the same vocal lines over and over again, and maybe, for a short period of time for the EP. But do you go through some vocal techniques before you start the recording, and what rituals do you have before you go on stage? So you're going to play, as I just said before the other guys came on because they were late again, a 40-minute set. So how are you going to get your vocals and prepare your vocals to scream for 40 minutes?
Do a warm up.
It does a lot of
like
role
a little steam apparatus. That helps out. Maybe have a shot of Jaeger just before set, just to loosen up a bit, and then
Yeah.
go in. That's pretty much been my approach, and it seems to have worked so far.
I just pictured you doing your do re mi fa sol la ti dos. No.
Nah.
I don't know. It's not far off.
There's too many syllables. Can't do that.
But I mean, obviously, there's a lot of strain on you, Craig. But because I mean, I look at Ben, and all he's got to do is go on stage and just move his fingers. You know, at least Dev has got a wee bit of stamina behind the drum kit. You know, but Ben,
he sits down on the job.
Yeah,
Normally
I'm
sitting down.
thankful for
Just
that,
like, fucking hell, man.
thanks for that.
well, you've just found out, Dev, you've got a 40-minute set, so you might need to go to the gym a couple of times before you come up to that. But you released 2 singles from the album, Sink or Swim and the title track of the album, well, video singles anyway. So with, as I've said earlier on, with the songs being a couple of years old now, no doubt that you want to play the new songs and you're kind of sick of playing them. Yeah, I just kind of asked that question earlier on. I've kind of fucked up a wee bit, but yeah, because I was just basically repeating myself. Has there been a period of something like you're not going to release anything else unless you're 100% happy with it? Or has there been a case of like, we're not going to record anything for the next 18 months? Our Gutlocker's plan is just to tour left, right and centre from the top to the bottom of the UK.
The US.
US.
Well, we said, hang on, I remember we said we were going to have a chilled out year this year, and then we played more gigs than we ever have in the first 3 months of the year. And
we
spiraled out.
But is that what I'd imagine, like when the touring plans came together, were you kind of like dreading it a wee bit, or once you started to play a couple of gigs, you're saying, this is what I want to do, let's get more gigs and let's get more tours and stuff like that?
Yeah, to be fair, the band started rolling. Like, to be fair, like, it's kind of a case. It's always going to be a case of like, you know, a band needs funds as well. So like, once we started getting more and more gigs, you know, you kind of let it snowball. Like, treat yourself on certain avenues, like. But there's always kind of been on the back line that sort of we need to take some time and write. So at some point, I guess that's going to become a bit more of a priority. But gigging is just fun. Like, more the better. Like.
Yeah, you have a shit week of work and then you bang that snare drum extra hard on a Saturday night.
Absolutely, yeah, best thing ever.
But... yeah, but is it far too early to say who's going to record it for you, who's going to mix and master it for you? Are you guys with To Be Alive? Were you happy with the formula and the studio experiences, or are you always open to like getting new people involved, getting new studios, different experiences? What are you thinking?
I think like we're pretty set on going back to Lewis Johns, who did To Be Alive. I mean, after we did the payoff, we heard the first sort of mix master back, and we were kind of like, it's missing something. And it's the weird finicky thing of like, we could release it like that, but it doesn't quite click, you know when tracks just, they sound like you could hear them played back on radio and it would fit with everything else. There's nothing kind of stuck out at you. It was just missing that. So we sent Lewis and got him to master it. And as soon as we heard it, it was like, yep, that's it. That's all it fucking needed. You know, it was just ready to go from that moment on. So definitely that experience as well. I really want to go with it, and I think we're all pretty set on it.
Was that just a lot of fancy words to say that you couldn't hear the bass in the record initially?
Well, I don't know. It wasn't just the bass.
Oh, Craig made sure that the vocals were turned up in it, yeah.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I think because we were pretty much set going for Lewis anyway, even before the payoff came out, because we loved the production of To Be Alive. And I think the payoff, just getting him to master it, was the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
Because we did hear the master from the other person that firstly recorded our track, but there was so much crammed in.
Yeah.
and it was just really loud, and there was one going over the other and stuff. And even I said it, like, me being the vocalist, I should have like a syndrome, be like, oh, I don't want my vocals to go down or anything. I'm like, my vocals are way fucking up there. They need to come down.
Wow.
So yeah, we passed it on to Lewis, and he just
Nailed it.
literally, I think it was the next day, we sent it to him. The next day he came back, and just everything sat the way it needed to be. And we're like, that's perfect. So
Yeah.
as I said, that's nail in the coffin. And we've just we're all in agreement. Yeah, when it comes to recording new stuff, Lewis is the first man on the list. And he's great at what he does. I mean, the caliber of bands that he's got behind him, he's done Employed to Serve, he's got Conjurer, he's done Palm Reader. So he is the man to go to.
Did you call him a few different names though, Craig? Like when you were doing To Be Alive, did you call him a few different names because he would turn around and say to you something like, is that what you really want to go with? Or would you like to try that again? What was his wee subtle hints to say, you might want to do a second take on that?
A lot of the time, I think I was doing a one take with it. I remember the first song that I did, it was Sink or Swim. And he doesn't mix his words. He says what he thinks. And I remember after I finished doing my first vocal track in Sink or Swim, and it was probably 5 seconds for him to speak back to me in the headphones. It was the longest 5 seconds ever. And he went, yeah, that's good, man. And I'm like, fucking hell. So it was a very, very easy process for me. Because I was just really warmed into what I was doing. I appreciate that, doing something like drums, guitar or bass is probably a lot more unforgiving than sort of using the muscle as an instrument.
Yeah.
So it's quite a smooth process for me. There was a few times where he would bring me out back and he'd get me to work on an accent of a lyric to make sure that it really punched. And yeah, I took it on board. I dare not argue with him because he knows this shit.
Yeah.
So because now that I know the routine that he goes in with recording us as a band, and I think I'm probably right in saying the other guys, well, we've got to understand what his routine is to work with us to get the sound that we want.
Yeah.
So I think that's why we're just like, yeah, we'll play it safe and just go to him because he knows his shit. Like, long story short.
Absolutely. Is this going to be like the first recording experience for you, Dave, or you recorded things before with previous bands?
Well, last time I recorded with the band was with Ben, actually. That was in like I guess a first band ever for both of us. And like that's out there somewhere, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. Oh, okay. If you desperately want to, I think it was called The Cases, the Loading EP, and you can probably find it. Bandcamp, yeah, go Bandcamp.
With a band name called The Cases, like was it kind of indie or something?
Not so much. Which alternative rock, I guess that's what we would have called ourselves. Kind of like Foo Fighters.
Oh, they're the topic of conversation at the moment, aren't they?
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah. So how are the songs constructed within the band then? Are there the main songwriters within the band, or do you feel that everybody this time has to play their part in making the EP a more collaborative effort and elevating it above everything that you've done previously?
Everything's kind of born in the rehearsal room. So, I mean, there's been a little bit of a different approach where Devon's bringing some songs in which are in tab form, and me and Pete are having to learn them, and that is new. But yeah, up most of the time it's kind of the three of us will work on, as in me, Devon, and Pete will work on the majority of it, and then Craig will come in once we've kind of nailed it, and he can put vocals to it. But it's kind of it's a bit of a journey once you've got something, and you'll be chopping and changing it up until the day it's recorded.
Yeah.
And afterwards, we still muck about with bits just because it's a bit of fun to do it differently live.
Yeah.
I did a load of stuff, to be fair. little space between songs and things like that.
Yeah, yeah. So, Dev, does Pete send you riffs at 4 o'clock in the morning saying these are my best riffs yet? By the way, you have to hear this.
Oh, I wish, mate. I wish. Honestly, yeah, coaxing riffs out of Pete can be a bit difficult, but when he does, it's always magic. So, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like all of us in the band try to get Pete to write more.
So yourself, Dave, and Ben, are you multi-instrumentalists? Like, do you have a guitar as well? And maybe sometimes you contribute something?
Oh yeah. We both went to a college where the thing they kind of got you to do was you're not always going to be able to play the instrument you want to play in the band. So you're going to have a good crack at everything.
Yeah.
So like I've there's some YouTube videos of me behind a kit out there somewhere and stuff like that. So yeah, we always try and bring our bit and always do the stupid trying to explain drums to a drummer thing and looking like an absolute idiot.
That's
Well, glad that do that.
Yeah. That's really cool. Listen, guys, I've only got a few questions left. I really do appreciate the time that you spent with me tonight. But with yourself, Craig, being the main vocalist of the band, do you write all the lyrics or do you welcome members to contribute to the lyrics? And what type, we kind of spoke a wee bit about it on the radio on Thursday. What type of lyricist are you? Do you, you've always got paper and pen on you. You open the door, you see something in the street, you write it down and you come back to it later on. Do you watch a lot of documentaries? Do you read a lot of books? Do you watch a lot of films? Where do you get your inspiration from, mate?
I mean, a lot of it is from life experience as well. A lot of it is from films. I love doing a bit of concept writing. As I was chatting to you before, the song SFS is based on film Equilibrium.
Yeah.
Which you're not allowed in that film. It's forbidden to have any pleasure or have any human emotion. And I started seeing a similarity with kind of social media in a sense.
Yeah.
Where people dare not have an opinion. And it's kind of like you get cancelled one after the other if you have an opinion that is different to someone else's. I remember me and Ben talked about it as well. Like, will it get to a point where everything gets cancelled out, so everyone just is in sync with each other, where they agree on one thing, they can't feel anything else? It could be probably criminal if they dare think outside the box. And so watching that film, kind of see what goes on in the real world and social media and putting that together kind of really brought the lyrical concept of the song SFS, which is really it stands for Stop Fucking Smiling. And that's the whole point of it, don't show any emotion or anything like that. So yeah, that's how that song came together.
Yeah.
It's pretty much me drawing real life experiences, what I've endured, what I've gone through, seeing similarity in other characters from films that I've watched. I've written a song about the Joker, Joaquin Phoenix portrayal of the Joker. I see a similarity to the film Taxi Driver. So I'm kind of, and I've known people that have suffered from PTSD and whatnot. So I'm kind of join the dots together on that. What I've seen, what I see in the films, what inspires me to write on paper and whatnot. It probably sounds like I'm waffling, but literally I'm just plucking loads of shit from the air and like I kind of put it into something, jot it down. I might get a spare light bulb moment where I might just note it down on my phone and then I get home and I work on it and then just pretty much let it write itself kind of thing.
That's what I was going to say. I think you've got a pretty large notes file on your phone, from what you're telling me. But do you take samples from films? Like, obviously I'm into death metal, so they obviously take like horror samples from like Fulci or something like that. But do you take a lot of samples and things?
What, is in actual audio samples?
Yes.
Or, I don't think we really need to do that. We did try and do a soundboard at one point, but I think the good word for it that Ben's using for it's a bit lackluster. I think the best way of just getting someone immersed into the music that we do, is not relying on samples, but actually what we write, what we create, what we put together musically and lyrically.
Fair comment, mate. Fair comment. But yes, talking of the visual side of the album, you guys already have a YouTube channel set up with a number of tracks on it. So I think you kind of touched on it earlier, Ben. Like, do you think there's going to be a video for the new songs coming from the new release? What you got planned, and who would you say is the visual one in the band? Who's the guy that comes up with, right, we're going to go into a darkened forest and we're going to have the lights behind us and all that? Who's the visual one?
Pete tends to be the one who comes out with a lot of it, but Skip does as well. It's kind of a mix between the two. I mean, we all kind of have crazy ideas, and it's kind of got to get back down to reality. But no, we want for the next song. There's like a big budget video idea we've got, but it's kind of like if we can get enough money together, we might stand a chance of being able to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we all kind of and have our crazy ideas, and yeah.
Are you get the same person, or like the same person that done your two videos previously from To Be Alive? Are you going to get the same person again, or are you going to branch out, or is it again because you know the formula and it works, you'll go back to the same people? Too early to say.
My light's dying. Sorry, guys. Right, hang on. We've got light again.
Yes.
No, it was who did send them all in? Luke Bateman. We're looking at going back to Luke because they're really, really good at what they do. They really nailed it with that. We were going for this crazy slow-mo thing, so recording at a really high frame rate and slowed it down.
Yeah.
And they really just nailed it on the head with the kind of right shots to get and what we wanted to see. So we kind of, what we're going for next time is we want to look like we're playing in an endless space. So we're trying to find a way of making that like work and actually look endless.
Yeah. It's just crazy, isn't it? Like you guys would come to Luke and say, this is what's in my head, this is what I want you to do. And then you arrive on the day and Luke comes in with these one or two ideas and it just completes the whole video and the whole song. He just gets what you guys are looking for.
Yeah, that's exactly. Just hit the nail on the head completely, and was completely kind of, because we ended up having to play the song at like double speed and silly stuff like that to get the footage to work, because we wanted to be able to slow it down and it be played back, so we're moving slowly but we're playing the song in time.
Yeah,
we were editing after the video.
Yeah.
Working around because we couldn't do certain bits like double speed, so we had to do them like 3/4, and then matching all that up must have been an absolute nightmare afterwards.
Have you ever played the same song since? Because you must have been fed up playing it like 10 times on the day, and like, I don't want to even touch this song anymore.
It feels like good practice sometimes.
Good stuff. Right. As I said, guys, I really do appreciate the time. I've only got 2 questions left for you. But this is a question for each of you. So say Rocktoberfest, you've got a 40-minute set. So you're playing like 6 to 8 songs, for talking's sake. What's the one song on the set list that you're personally looking forward to playing the most, and why? So it might be 5th on the set list or something like that, but it's the one that you're looking forward to be playing in the whole of your set. So because, Ben, you're on the top left, I'm going to ask you first, what's your favourite song to play and why?
Oh, at the moment, it's the new one. I just love seeing people react to it. There's a bit towards the end where you can really just go for it and let go. There's not too many effects changes in it yet, so I don't have to dance around on my pedal board too much.
And so it's the easiest song for you to play, then that's why you like it.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, I like the challenge.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to change it a wee bit because I got a funny feeling that you're all going to say the new song. So what's your favourite song of To Be Alive to play and why?
I'd have to go for probably Send Them All In.
Why?
Yeah, I love the riff at the end because it's got the whole hammer-on thing going, and yeah, that's just so much fun to play because I started off learning like Muse songs, and that's like a thing they heavily rely on a lot. So it feels good to take it into a metal scenario. And then there's a bit where there's like a repeat of it, and I go down just hammering on the low strings. And yeah, it just really like sounds meaty, feels chunky. It's like, yeah, okay, here we are.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Thanks, Ben. Thanks for that. Craig, you're bottom left, and I know you're going to say the new song, but tough. What is it from To Be Alive that you like playing? Why?
At the moment, I'm going to say it's the actual song itself, To Be Alive.
Why?
Because may have added a little addition towards the end, similar to New Song, where it gives a moment for people to just really let go. And when we've played it over the last few shows, I've seen the kind of response that it's been getting, and I've seen people really sort of banging their heads to it. It's just for that, even though it's a small moment, it's a great moment for me just watching those people really let loose at that little section. I wish the idea arose when we were recording it, but it is what it is. We can't change the past. But yeah, it's something that I'm looking forward to playing at the next show and seeing people just having a good time to it.
Sure. Well, it must be the best feeling in the world, playing something on stage and see the crowd just react to it and go mental to it. It must be the best feeling in the world. And two, from what you're saying, the wee bit that you've added on at the end in the new song, you know exactly which direction to take Gutlocker on for the EP. You know exactly now what works. So just keep on doing what you're doing. It sounds as if you found your sound, the formula, to just keep on doing what you're doing. Very excited to hear it. Very excited to hear it. But Dave, what's your favourite song off To Be Alive, mate?
I've got to say Absence of Change, and it's probably because I mean, of all the songs that we play live, like it's absolutely come the furthest. I mean, I think Ben already mentioned that we tweak stuff, you know, in practice sessions, even if it's just for fun, and if it comes out sounding good, then fair enough. And like, but yeah, it's just grown and grown over time with the way we play it live into obviously the same song, but just a whole different animal. Like, yeah.
But what do you do then if Ben and Craig are saying to you, not Pete, because he's not fucking here anyway. So what do you say if Ben and Craig get the set list and then you recognise that the song isn't on the set list?
Oh, I don't know. We couldn't allow that to happen.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure it'll be on there.
No, good stuff, good stuff. Listen, it's the last question for you, and again, it's a question for each of you. It's basically like when you're going in to record the EP or the album, whatever it is that you're deciding to do, what instruments, what make, what model, what amps, what pedals that you're using to go into that recording. So, as I said, Ben, you're top left, mate, so I'm asking you first. In other words, I'm going to the boring part of the band and ask the bassist what he uses, because it's only 4 strings, isn't it?
Nah, it's 5 strings.
Oh!
Yeah,
So you're right with the prog then. You are wanting to bring prog in this, aren't you? You want dungeons and swords and dragons and stuff like that, aren't you?
Oh, no. Well, yeah, so I use a Dingwall bass, a Canadian brand. I use the entry level one, so they like make the bits in China, assemble them in Canada, and then send them to the rest of the world, which makes sense to only them. But yeah, a really well built bass. It's got the whole fan fret thing. I couldn't get on with shorter scale basses, and I went to this and the B string. It's just really, when you're playing it without an amp, it resonates like a piano string, really. Pedals wise, I use about like.
So sorry. Why did you go to the 5 string then? Because you only really play the one.
Well, I needed a low one, and I felt like I'd look flashy, and instead of tuning down, I'd just get an extra string.
Okay. So what's your amps and pedals and stuff, mate?
So I use a dark glass amp, the it just sounds amazing. They just do the bass thing better than anyone else, especially for metal. It's got a distortion built into it, which is really nice because you can have loads of pedals and kind of use it to bring the signal back up and really punchy before it hits the speaker. Pedals wise, I mean, you'll need a whole day to explain the whole effects change.
Is he the geek of the band? The biggest pedal board?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Pete's got like 4. and my pedal board's like 4 foot long.
I bet he's got the biggest pedal board, but he doesn't carry in and out of every gig that he goes to. That's your job, Dev. You've got to carry it for him because it's too heavy for him.
He's got the arms.
But I'm going to come back to you, Craig. Dev, like, what's your drum setup, mate?
Oh, okay. At the moment, I'm on a Pearl shell set. Actually, a Pearl and a Mapex mix. Mapex snare. Cymbals are a kind of array, but I favour minor, stuff like that. Zildjian, obviously, classics. Like, when it comes to what would go into the studio with us, it's actually kind of, let's call it minimalist in compared to what Dean would have. He had so many cymbals, it was frightening. So I've toned it down a little bit. But yeah, and obviously copious double bass, that's going to be happening. But like I'm Mapex double bass. Yeah.
It better happen. But what about you've obviously spoken about your jazz background and stuff like that. Are you finding it difficult, like when you're going to be going into recording things like that, to tweak the snare sound? Do you think you found the snare sound that you're happy with Gutlocker?
Oh, absolutely. Like, to be fair, it took a while and 3 snare drums through, but yeah, like found one. I'm on a Canon now. We're talking like, I think it's a 17D. Like, and it's awesome. That thing absolutely slaps. So yeah, trust me. Yeah. When it comes to like tuning it, like, in fairness, we hold like fairly consistent tuning throughout like our songs, unlike other styles of music where you might tweak tune. This is more about just maintaining it. And like when it comes to this sort of metal, if you've got rim shot and crack, you're in the gold.
Yeah. Last question for you, Dave. What size of drumsticks do you use? And what make?
5B. Yeah.
Oh, these are 5BR. I'm probably the best air drummer that you're likely to meet. There's a song that I've listened to for like 35 years, and every time I hear it, I've got to get the drumsticks out and do it. It's a Bolt Thrower Cenotaph, highly recommended. But anyway, that's beside the point. But thanks very much for that, you guys. But Craig, with you being the vocalist then, are you the type of vocalist that you've done your research, you've searched different mics and you found the sound that you've been looking for, or are you just like SM58 and I'll fucking sing into it?
I mean, talking about microphones, I think the most important thing to me is if it feels good and if everyone else is happy with it. So I'll happily take whatever they stick in my mouth.
So, what do you have in the house and what do you practice with?
Me?
Yeah.
I've got an SM58. I don't really practice on the mic though. I use the acoustics in these 4 walls that I'm in. Do my warm-ups when I can. A lot of it is really, I think we're doing pretty much minimum 4 rehearsals a month. So a lot of the time that's really my conditioning on my voice. Because I think we do around 4 or 5 hours each session or something.
Wow.
And I mean, a lot that's really just breaking everything down, trying to get everything up to speed at right tempo. Again, like, give credit where due, like Dev's really got us knuckling down to just really get shit as tight as we possibly can. So I just use that time to really sort of get everything as consistent and to the point to ensure that there's no sign of any complacency when it comes to doing a show.
Yeah.
So we got a thing that works. It works for me.
Yeah, absolutely it does. But like you say, you've got an SM58 there. You'll probably get an SM58 at the gig. But what is it like when you go into the recording studio to record your vocals and you see a completely different microphone? Are you a wee bit tentative about it, or no, you just growl into it, don't you?
I mean, I just pretty much go into it. Like, Ben, do you know what mic we used
It
to be alive?
was some universal audio thing, I think. I didn't know. It was like a nice cardioid microphone.
Yeah.
You just shouted right into the pop shield. It was like
Yeah.
hit voice go.
Yeah.
It's a weird experience when I'm recording, because it's pretty much you're under the microscope, you're under the light, so you're really hearing what you're doing. And that's when it really comes to ensuring that you've got your shit together for it, because it will pick up on every sort of crackle in your voice and everything.
Yeah.
So I think when it comes to what I find a lot of the time when it comes to recording, say a few weeks prior, that's when I really, really knuckle down. Because I know there's no shortcut. I'm not saying that I try and do any shortcut when I do a show or anything, but I know that when it comes to recording, there is no chance of taking any shortcut. It will get picked on. So I need to ensure that if at any point, if I'm to be at my best vocally, I've really got to be tip top just before we do recording.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. But Craig and Dev, like when he's doing his vocal parts, do you actually stand and watch him like that, or are you actually, right, Craig's doing his vocal parts, let's get something to eat or have a couple of pints, go on the PlayStation?
Oh, do you know, I was there for most of it, to be fair. There were a couple of times we might have left him to it, but a lot of the time we would have been like just making sure we were happy with absolutely everything.
Yeah.
Or at least
we're all pretty involved in the process, you know, in a good way, totally. So like,
Absolutely. Just very, very quickly, you've obviously got Moshville Rocktoberfest on October the 19th. Do you have, up in Glasgow, do you have any other gigs before the end of the year, or are you going to concentrate on writing now?
No, I think we've got a fair few. Craig, do you know the list?
I mean, I'll go into Insta. I mean, we've got Ashford. We've got the Star in Ashford. That's the first show in October that we do, and then it is Oktoberfest. The next show we're doing this month, funny enough, called Star in at Guildford. There is one to be announced in December. I will say we'll be back at Kingston 1st of November at the Fighting Cocks as well. To be honest, I need to pull my finger out and actually update the list on the next few shows that we got for the remainder of the year. But I think what we're going to do, we'll do the shows that we got left. Anyone who's watching this video, whenever it's out, just by the end of this week, go onto Insta, go on our TikTok, Facebook. You'll find an update. TikTok, fucking hell, an updated little gig guide on the shows coming up for the rest of the year. And I think the way we're going to do it, we're just going to try and kick much arse as we can, try and end the year on a high, and hopefully have a few tunes.
2025.
Yeah.
This is going to be Gutlocker's best year, 2025. In fact, it's going to start on October 24. That's how good Glasgow's going to be. I can't wait to see you guys live on stage, seeing you in Rabidfest, and knowing you personally, Craig. Ben, Dev,
sorry about that.
Nice to see you. No, but I'm so looking forward to seeing you guys on stage, and kicking Glasgow a new one. Really looking forward to it. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And whenever the EP or the album is ready, you know exactly where I am, and we'll do this again. Thank you.
Oh, definitely.
Thanks,
Cheers, man. Thanks.